Hello and welcome to the Film Pulse Podcast. This is episode number 483. My name's Adam Patterson. With me today we've got Kevin Rakestraw. Hey, Kevin.
Well, hello.
Yeah, this week on the show, we'll be taking a look at the Netflix animated film Nimona. We'll also be going over some we're watching on the watch list and going over this week's new releases in theaters, VOD, and Blu-ray. Thank you so much for joining us this week. Please consider reviewing us on iTunes. That'd be great. With that, I think we can just hop on in. Just hop on into some Nimona. This is directed by Nick Bruno and Troy Quayne. I have a synopsis here. When a knight in a futuristic medieval world is framed for a crime he didn't commit, the only one who can help him prove his innocence is Nimona, a mischievous teen who happens to be a shape-shifting creature he's sworn to destroy. Kevin, what were your initial impressions of Nimona?
Initial impressions is I wanted to buy this, the comic, and I just kind of like forgot about it. So the first off, I was like kind of bummed because I wanted to read the comic before I watched the movie, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
But that wasn't going to happen. So I was mildly interested in this, and I gotta say, I was quite surprised. Like, this is really fucking good, which I was not expecting it to be, Netflix and all.
Yeah.
I just had, you kind of have reservations going into like a Netflix movie. And like the world building in this, the animation, like everything about it. I fucking loved this movie, to be honest.
Yeah, this is a solid. The thing about Netflix is I feel like their animated stuff seems to be much better than any of their live action stuff. I feel like because they did the Mitchells versus the Machines, which I absolutely loved. They did the Cyberpunk series, which is really good. They did the Castlevania series, which is really good. So I feel like their animated stuff seems to be.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and also that League of Legends, that Arcane show. I didn't finish watching that, but the animation was incredible in that show. Especially for being a series and not like, a movie. But yeah, I totally agree. I don't know if I loved this movie. I liked it very much. I did also like the world building quite a bit. The animation was excellent. I liked the characters. Yeah, just across the board. Had a really good time with this.
Yeah, I love the idea of like a futuristic medieval, like that mashup just worked really well for me.
Blending the kind of fantasy and sci-fi worlds together. It's like one part cyberpunk, one part, like Dungeons and Dragons or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked that quite a bit too. I thought that the action scenes were well done. I think that, whenever you're dealing with a shape-shifting character, it's like the possibilities are so boundless. And I feel like they really took advantage of her abilities in this, which I appreciated. Because, there's so much you can do, but like, are they gonna really fully capitalize on the fact that she can turn into like anything? And I feel like they did a good job with that.
Yeah. No, I really like the way that her character is utilized here. Like it's just there's a lot of energy to this that I appreciate it, and it was fun.
And comparing this to like I didn't see that Elemental movie, the Pixar one, but to me like that looks so boring and generic. And like just your bog standard CG animated movie. Comparing it to like comparing these two, like this just it has so much more on offer.
Yeah, well, I feel like they're just kind of like stuck in a rut.
Yeah.
Where like every trailer that I see, it's just them essentially being like, okay, well, how about this time it's elements, or this time it's feelings, and we'll have a character that's each of one of the things, and we'll build a world out of it. And it's like you just keep doing like the same formula over and over, but you just switch. It's like when Rob Schneider used to be fucking things. You know, what was the joke where he was like, "Oh, Rob Schneider is the stapler." Like,
Yeah.
like that's what they're doing. They're just Rob Schneider movies now.
Yeah. Pretty much. Yeah, I think so. It's kind of weird how hard they fell off. But also, like, I feel like they're not really doing anything unique with their animation either. Like, I'm bored with the standard, like, Pixar style CG animation.
Yeah.
Like, I'm looking for something different. That's why I'm interested in that new Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie. And one of the reasons I like the Spider-Verse movies so much. And, you know, this one, too, I think has a more unique animation style. I liked it. I like the look of it a lot.
I really liked the artwork in the beginning, like the like the historical stuff, like when it was going through the history
Mm-hmm.
of the world and everything, and it was just like, and it starts off that way, where I was just like, oh yeah, I am 100% into this.
Yeah, I liked that also, and I really liked the subway tile scene when they were going through, and everything was the subway tile.
It just everything in the beginning, like the scrolls and stuff, everything had like a kind of like a Charlie Harper look to it, which I thoroughly enjoyed. And it was just a nice mix throughout the movie, switching it up just enough to keep it visually interesting for me.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Story wise, I thought was decent. I liked what they were doing with the story. I felt like a lot of it was a bit on the nose, but you know, it's a kids movie, so I kind of give it a pass for that.
Yeah, I thought it was a nice mix though of like being kid friendly enough or tailored towards kids, but still being a good enough story that adults can enjoy it.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
I was pleasantly surprised by this, so much so that like towards the end of it, I was like, I could use more of this.
Yeah, I'll be
You know what I mean? Like if
interested.
this was a series or something.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see if they like. Now, I'm not so. The source material, is it just like a single graphic novel or is it a series? I'm not familiar.
I think it's just one graphic novel.
Okay.
Pretty sure.
I'm curious. I'm curious if this is like successful, if they'll try to continue it. Because I feel like there's ample opportunity to continue exploring this world here. I feel like there's a lot that they can do with this.
Yeah, and again, I think this is so much because of the like the world building in here. Like I would like to spend more time in that world.
Oh yeah, yeah, I definitely would too. You had a good voice cast in here. Chloe Grace Moretz plays she does the voice of Nimona. Riz Ahmed is Ballister. Beck Bennett in here is Sir Thawne. Thought he was a good addition. Add some more comedic relief in there. Eugene Lee Yang as Ambrosius. So yeah, good voice cast. Liked that. Pretty much across the board. Just enjoyed this movie. Just enjoyed it.
Disney fucked up. They had it.
I feel like they're getting toppled off of their pedestal here, between like Pixar being kind of mid and like pretty much all the Marvel stuff. I feel like is people are getting tired of.
Mm-hmm.
It's just too much, man. And like all those Star Wars shows, and
There's too much.
yeah, that's the thing. I think that we're all just overwhelmed. Like when Mandalorian came out, I was like all excited, and I liked that show quite a bit. But I didn't even watch the latest season. Like I didn't even watch it, and I didn't watch any of the other. And like I used to be a huge Star Wars fan, and it's just like I'm just worn out. I'm just worn out with all of it. And like I watched the first episode of that there's a new show they have with Samuel L. Jackson called Secret Invasion, and I mostly watched it for because Mendelsohn's in it, and I pretty much watch anything that he's in, and like even that was just so dreadfully average. But Nimona, definitely worth a look if you still have Netflix. Give it a look, give it a watch.
Yeah, and this is something that I've been kind of clamoring for, because I'm a sucker for any like fantasy, like medieval type stuff, adventure movies, and this definitely scratched that itch.
You should check out the Dungeons and Dragons movie now.
I know. I want to see that one as well.
It is available, I think, now on VOD. I don't know if it's on. You know what? I actually just watched I watched it with my dad, and it's on. I want to say MGM Plus.
The fuck is MGM Plus?
Yeah. I just signed up for a free trial just to watch the new Dungeons and Dragons movie, and then I just canceled it.
I might have to do that then.
Yeah.
It was funny. My brother visited yesterday. He came over, and like the first thing out of his mouth was, he's like, "Do you guys have Peacock?" What? I was like, "You have Peacock?"
I will say that Peacock is getting some interesting things. Like they have some interesting stuff. Not enough for me to be like, yeah, I want to get Peacock at this point, but like they have the Twisted Metal show that's coming out, which is probably going to be horrible, but I'm still like very curious to see what they're going to do with Twisted Metal. Anyway, let's go ahead and give Nimona a score. Kevin, what are you going to give it out of 10?
I'm going to give it like a 7.5, 8, I think.
I'm sitting at I'm going to like a 7.5 on this one. For sure. Definitely check it out. Let's move on, talk about some of what I've been watching. I'm not sure whose turn it is. I think it might be yours. We'll start with you.
All right. Let's get into it. Some Evil Dead stuff.
Uh-oh.
Evil Dead. So, first thing we watched was Evil Dead Rise, the newest one from this year.
I rewatched that this past week with my dad.
Oh man, I wish I was in the room for that.
It was fun.
I'll start off by saying that I was surprised, like in not a good way, because I remember everyone kind of talking about this movie and hyping it up and being so excited for it and everything, and just hearing nothing but genuinely good things, which should have been my first like warning, because usually when that happens, it doesn't pay off the way that I'm expecting it to. And I was thoroughly disappointed with this. I did not like this movie at all, really. The only thing I could say is that Alyssa Sutherland does give a hell of a performance, being possessed and everything. I thought she was phenomenal. But I don't know. It just nothing worked for me. The one that, the big scene at the end with the thing that she's fighting reminded me of what was it, like the Royal Revenant from Elden Ring? Yeah. That's what it reminded me of. That was disgusting and wonderful. Yeah. But everything else was just a ugh.
That's a shame. I really liked Evil Dead Rise. I mean, ranking it with the franchise, it's the lowest for me. Below the remake even. Thought the remake was done better than Evil Dead Rise, but I still liked it.
Yeah, it just didn't work for me. And it also felt dated as hell. I couldn't believe that this was a movie from 2023.
I liked it. It did feel dated. I agree, but like to me, I kind of liked that.
Just unfortunately didn't work for me. Should have known. Everyone was so high on it.
All right, well that's a shame. I saw Asteroid City this week. This is obviously the new Wes Anderson. This was a little disappointing for me. I guess my expectations, my hopes were just too high for this. I think I get extremely excited for Wes Anderson movies. Love Wes Anderson movies, and recently with the last like maybe 3 of his movies, I've had kind of the same criticism with them where I look at them and I sort of compare them to his earlier films, Bottle Rocket, Rushmore, Royal Tenenbaums, even Life Aquatic. And I feel like there's something that's missing. I feel like he continues to lean so heavily into the quirkiness of them that it's starting to detract from the actual characters that he's presenting, and a lot of it feels so like kind of stilted that it's just there's something there's like an emotional void in his movies for me now. And I think it's really a shame. Like, there were a lot of things that I liked about Asteroid City. Obviously the visuals, the cinematography, the set work, like it's gorgeous. I mean, I loved the look of this movie. It takes place in the 50s and like the mid 50s. So I love that aesthetic. Everything about that was great. The score, everything about the soundtrack was incredible. There's like stop motion in this too. Like, like he likes to recently, I feel like he likes to kind of sprinkle in some stop motion stuff. And that's all really incredible as well. I loved it. Loved the look, design, everything. But just the kind of general plot I thought was a little bit lacking, and same with the characters. I felt like I could have used more from the characters beyond just the fact that they were quirky. Like, this is an entire cast of like, unique quirky characters, a little wacky, and I wanted a little bit more out of everything regarding the script in this. So again, not horrible. Like, I would still give it a light recommend, but yeah, it's, I think, maybe my least favorite Wes Anderson film.
Well, hey, next movie I'm going to talk about is good. It's a good movie. That's Evil Dead 2. Sam Raimi, 1987.
Hell yeah.
This, I'll be honest, this started off a little bit, I was like a little bit worried because I knew going into it how you said it's essentially like a remake of the first one. So I was slightly confused. It's starting and there's only two of them and they're going to the cabin and he discovers the Book of the Dead. And I'm just like, well, how the fuck is this going to work? There's like no other people like this. And then it was like a little bit too silly at first. And I was just like, this is like completely different. Like, I don't understand how any of this is going to work. And, but man, did it win me over. It's like the perfect amount of ridiculous and comedic, but also fucking disgusting, and blood geysers everywhere. And it was just so over the top that, like, I couldn't help but love it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a certain point that the ridiculousness just, like, overtakes you. And it just, like, you succumb to it. And you're just like, I do whatever the fuck you want because I'm having a blast.
Yeah.
You're going to send them back in time? Fucking, yeah, let's do it. This is great. You're strapping a chainsaw to your hand? Sure. Why not? I love all of this.
Yeah, I actually like Evil Dead 2 more than the original.
It's hard for me to say because to me they're both so different in a way. Like Evil Dead 1 feels, Evil Dead 1 feels like one of those old school, like, low budget horror classics where you're utilizing your low budget and there's just so much creativity in terms of like camera work and everything. And then this is just like, we're just going to make a mismatch of so many different genres and we're just going to have an absolute blast with it. And man, does it work.
Yeah, it's great. It is a classic. So that's Evil Dead 2. Definitely recommend that if you haven't seen it. Jeez. I saw Brooklyn 45. This is on Shudder. This is the new one from Ted Gagin. I liked this quite a bit. It's with Anne Ramsey, Ezra Buzzington, Jeremy Holm, Larry Fessenden. It's this is sort of a low, not low budget, but like minimal single location film. Takes place in 1945 after the Second World War, and these 5 military veterans gather in this apartment in Brooklyn over Christmas, and they have a séance, and some truths bubble to the surface, and there's some craziness that happens during this séance, and it's really good. I would definitely recommend it. I loved the set design, even though it's like takes place in one apartment. I just love the look of it. It felt very authentic. Great performances across the board. It felt very like play-ish, very theatrical, which I think it sort of lended itself to the era in which it takes place. And really solid. There's not a lot of like special effects work in here, but when it does show up, it's quite good. I liked the effects work a lot. It felt very kind of like classic, like Poltergeist-esque, which I liked. So I give it a recommend. Check it out. Brooklyn 45. It's on Shudder.
Nice. I watched The Pink Cloud from 2021. This is on Amazon Prime. And this movie kind of starts out with a disclaimer, letting you know that it was filmed before the pandemic, or at least written. I can't remember what the exact disclaimer reads. But it's almost as though they're trying to say, like, hey, this happened before the pandemic. That's not necessarily what we're talking about here.
Mm-hmm.
Because it feels like everything that happens in this movie, it feels like it's a metaphor for, climate change. But since so much of it is like people being quarantined together and they're not allowed to leave their house, of course, I think, with it coming out at that point, everyone's like, oh yeah, this is about the pandemic. But
right.
I mean, it's about pink clouds that come and they're toxic and they kill you, so you can't go outside. Like, at least with the pandemic, we could go outside.
Right.
So pretty sure this is a climate change thing.
Mm-hmm.
Makes a lot more sense. So these Giovanna and Iago, they meet at a party. They kind of have like a one-night stand. They wake up in the morning, deadly clouds. He gets stuck at her house, and they're like, oh, a couple of days will pass and we'll be able to leave. And then next thing you know, years and years and years later, they're forced, to essentially share this household together. Which, surprisingly, because I had a strong feeling that at some point, because of the restrictions that you're putting on this narrative, that, man, this is going to get boring quick. And it does at points. It does drag a little bit here and there. But I think overall did a really good job of kind of going through a relationship that's kind of stuck. Like there's nowhere to go. You're stuck in a house. When things aren't working out, you have to figure stuff out. And then, changes that are made and everything. I thought it was very interesting. I enjoyed it. I think to me, it's like a light recommend. Like not everything worked for me. And also just kind of that narrative to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I'm not that interested in it because we kind of lived it.
Yeah.
So I don't want to relive it.
Naturally. Cool. Well, that's The Pink Cloud. I saw Young Sherlock Holmes from 1985, directed by Barry Levinson. I never saw this movie. I think that this was like a big kids movie. When we were young, I guess, but I never saw it as a kid, so I don't know. But I was always aware of this movie, but it never looked very interesting to me. It looked very brown. Like I would describe it as brown, and it looked very boring and British to me. So I was like never really into it. I just thought of like those like TV British kids TV shows where they're just like so dry and just not very interesting. But I gave it a look anyway. It's on Amazon Prime, and this is not dry at all. It's really fun, actually. So it is about Sherlock Holmes when he's like, I don't know, 14, 15, something like that, maybe 16. And he's in a boys' boarding school, and Dr. Watson, or at the time, John Watson, he's like the new kid, and Sherlock brings him in, and they become friends. And turns out that there's a killer on the loose, and the way that he kills people is he shoots them with a dart, and it causes them to have these like horrific hallucinations, and they end up killing themselves, basically. Yeah. So I was like, okay,
Jesus Christ.
yeah, this is something. And I will say, like, the scenes when they were having the hallucinations were awesome. Now, like, I knew that this was the first movie that used CG in it, and but I never knew the context. And the context was during one of these like hallucinations when the guy gets killed. So all of those scenes were great. It's pretty solid. It's an Amblin film, so it does have that kind of Amblin charm to it. And I would give it a recommend if you haven't seen it yet. Young Sherlock Holmes.
Interesting. Unbelievable. I have not watched anything else.
All right. The last one that I'll quickly mention is Continental Divide. This is from 1981. It's directed by Michael Apted. This is a rom-com with John Belushi and Blair Brown. This is an Amblin film too, actually. I'm kind of trying to go through the Amblin filmography and like find stuff that I haven't seen and kind of check it out. And this is okay. It's your pretty average rom-com. It's an interesting role for John Belushi in that it's like way more kind of understated and just straight-laced than what I'm used to seeing him in. You know, like typically you're used to like seeing him in his like Animal House type characters or Blues Brothers where he's like a little wild and wacky. But this, he's a Chicago journalist who's like bringing down these corrupt politicians and stuff, and he gets assigned this he gets put on after his life is threatened. He gets put on an assignment out in the Rocky Mountains where he has to follow around this woman who is researching bald eagles, and in the 2 weeks that he spends with her, they fall in love and strike up an unlikely romance.
Knew it.
And it's pretty average. Like, it's fine. It's entertaining. It's nice. But nothing special here. So, I don't know. I guess. No, I can't really recommend it.
He's bad. He's like, hold up. No.
It's fine, but there's just nothing to it, really. Like
Yeah.
Belushi's good in it, but his character's pretty just like normal, so it's not like it's, you know, his best performance or anything. It's just a regular dude in it. All right, let's take a look at what we have in theaters this week. Got Joyride. We got Earth Mama. I'm pretty excited for Earth Mama. Not excited, but I want to see it. I feel like excited is not quite the right word for that movie, but Insidious: The Red Door.
Not the Red Door.
Yeah, you got to watch out for it. Watch out for that red door.
Fuck.
It means doom, you know, like that.
It's not good things.
Yeah. That's pretty much it for theaters. VOD this week. Let's take a look. We got Biosphere coming out. That's with Sterling K. Brown and Mark Duplass. I'm kind of interested in this one. It's like supposed to be like a feel-good comedy.
Yeah.
Dead Man's Hand, which is a Western. It's pretty much it.
That's it.
Pretty much. We got on Netflix Back to 15. No, wait, that's a series, it looks like. So we got Wham coming out on July 5th. I guess that's a documentary about Wham.
All right.
A little rock doc action about
Little
Wham.
rock.
We got Gold Brick coming out on the 6th. And then on the 7th, we got The Outlaws, which looks like an action comedy.
Mm-hmm.
It's like The In-Laws, but it's The Outlaws.
The Outlaw.
So it's like a double entendre, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, shit.
Yeah. Blu-ray this week, we got The Truman Show coming out in 4K. Got Jaws 2 coming out.
Yeah. Yeah, you do.
Upgrade coming out in 4K. Fighting Back from 1982 coming out on Arrow. Looks like the Mission Impossible movies are getting another release.
Okay.
Face Off from 1997. Yes. I heard they're remaking that. I don't know if that's still happening.
Oh, we're getting a Face Off remake.
Yeah, I think so. Not that we need that.
No, that's terrible.
That's pretty much it. I think the holiday weekend, or the holiday week rather, is like kind of messing with the Blu-ray schedule. So I'm assuming there's no Criterions.
There's no Criterions. We can't fuck around with July 4th.
Yeah. That's what I suspected. All right, cool. That's going to do it for this week. Thank you so much for listening. You can send us your questions and topics to podcast@filmpulse.net. You can follow us on Twitter @FilmPulseNet and @FilmPulseKevin. And if you have a minute, consider reviewing us on iTunes. That'd be great. For Kevin Rakestraw, my name's Adam Patterson. We'll see you next week.